The modern world is changing at a tremendous pace. Companies emerge and perish. However, the task of bettering your home should be trusted to a company with a considerable history. For example, Arutech is a company specialized in the production of windows and has provided exclusively high-quality service already for 20 years. The beauty of business lies in the fact that you have to be aware of everything, same as 20 years ago. And life will let you know what novel to introduce into your life and company. Arutech was founded by Areg Arutyunyan, the son of the famous sculptor and artist Areg Arutyunyan. But regardless of his creative talents, Areg decided not to follow his father's footsteps and opted for trade business instead. I was a great drawer, but you know what held me back? What held me back? The fact that I saw how his whole life worked. It was a hellish job. He was a sculptor, and if you compare this with painting, then you understand that a painter can get up in the morning and paint a canvas that fetches him 40 million. But a sculptor, after removing everything excessive from the difficult materials, discovered that it will result in nothing. I saw that hellish labor. I saw how it tortured him, not physically but mentally, as every exhibition and every piece is torture. I understood that it was not for me. Thank God for that. Even so, Areg supports his father in every way. For example, a book of over 500 pages featuring the works of Areg Arutyunyan was published in 2005. It features about 130 sculptures and 500 pictures, including graphics and paintings. Now a new challenge has arisen, finding the premises for the museum of the gallery, not to sell his creations, but to bring them before people to admire. At the end of the 20th century, when the historical landscape began to rapidly change, Areg was drafted to the military. I joined the military under socialist regime, but once I returned, it had been replaced by capitalism. When I was drafted, they taught me about communism and the basic principles of Marxism, and once I got released, there was nothing left of those teachings. The new era brought new opportunities. At first, Areg worked in a bank, which was followed by his first business activity, selling banking equipment. His arrival to Windows was completely random, as life sometimes is. We went to an exhibition where I failed to sell a single safe, but I met guys who produced regular and protective roller blinds. And this is what brought me to Windows later on. How should one think of it? A random event or a pattern? In any case, it's a matter of fact that if you socialize, travel and explore, you will get some interesting ideas. Arutech was founded in 1999, which also marks the year when Svetlana, Areg's wife, became his trustworthy business partner. She had graduated as a chemical engineer and a cybernetician and was working in a chemistry laboratory. But that company got into financial difficulties and failed to pay her salary for a whole year. So I said that while it's nice that you're working in your trade, you're not getting paid, which makes it a hobby, not a job. Come join me instead. I won't pay you either, but maybe it will lead to something. This happened almost at the same time as the establishment of my company. True, I do pay her, and I couldn't be happier with the results. Getting the business running was definitely a challenge, as Areg and Svetlana had to carry the whole workload, from selling to purchasing materials. We had several employees, I think about 5, who were working on the manufacturing side and produced windows. We produced about 5 windows a day. It was a difficult period, as it was a challenge to make profit. At first we worked 12-hour days for several years without making any profit. We understood that it was senseless. It was no professional life, not even a job, more like a hell of some sort. We began our search for new employees, to whom we gave also some authorizations. By the way, some of these people are still with us. Zubin Alexander. I have worked in the company almost since its founding, that is around 20 years. I joined without really thinking. I liked it and decided to stick around. My name is Lena and I have been working here since 2002. Back then the company was located at Tuuliku and it was a small factory, only 2 offices and a workshop. My name is Flora and I have been working in the company for 15 years, which means this is a sort of an anniversary. Arutech kept evolving and managed to survive the depression years with confidence. We were lucky that I had a strict financial strategy in place. We only used the means at our disposal and had no loans or debts. We were competing with companies who had considerable credit and could therefore expand much faster. But when their salaries dropped by half, they couldn't take it. Arutech not only managed to survive the economic depression, but also became larger and stronger and built their own factories some years ago. It was a coincidence, as we were forced out of our comfort zone. We were renting a building for about €2 per square meter, which was the market price. Then the landlord informed us that the price will increase to €5 after a year. That's what made us think what would be the point of doing business if we gave him everything we had. The idea is to make a profit. And that got us into speculating about building our own factory. The bank and construction companies both gave us a good offer. We paid €2.5 up to €3, considering the credit payments. Today, Arutech is a successful company, manufacturing quality products and operating successfully both on the domestic and foreign markets. It's a desired place of work to many people. No doubts, it depends on the season. At the peak season, we have about 140 employees, 30 of them working in Tallinn and branch offices, as we appreciate them all. I don't want to go to extremes and say love, as it feels somehow inappropriate. Whereas my main principle is respect. Respect helps with creating good employment relationships, as our personnel includes completely different people with different personality traits, interests and hobbies. I actively practiced water sports for 20 years. I sailed a catamaran and rode a kayak on rivers. I love cooking, so I could cook non-stop on my free time.
Meil on Võsul on oma maja, kus siis saab nagu istutada ja näppe mulda pista.
I am interested in sport shooting and historical reconstruction.
Raamatuid lugeda ja ülejäänud aja siis ma veedan koos perega, et meile meeldib käia spaades ja loodust nautida.
Respect and orderliness is the key of having a good relationship not only with the employees, but also with partners. We use the Gealan profile system. It's not just about the advantages, the affordable prices, and getting access to every engineering solution we want to see on the market, that we get when working with the company. It's also about the nice people who are a joy to make business with. This also pertains to GU, our furniture accessories supplier, and other companies we cooperate with. Arutech is a good example of successful company management, but Areg also finds time for recreation. He is a fan of racing. Formerly, I engaged in different self-defense practices, but some injuries were starting to cause problems. I was still craving for adrenaline, so now I have racing, very amateurish, no doubt. I also love the technical aspect of cars, how intricate they are and so on. Areg also has his own YouTube channel called Drive Behind the Wheel that is all about cars. He travels through different countries and compares the different properties of the cars. He also passed the passion of keeping a video log onto his younger son. My son looked into my eyes. He said, "Dad, I want to try this." My youngest son, I have 3 children and I'm already a grandfather. And he says that he wants to try this. I told him no problem and tried to film him with my camera, and it turned out he could go on talking forever. In addition to the genetics, it is probably partially reflective of me having read to him every night and his talent that is a joy to observe. David Rockefeller said, "Pure mind and striking out on new paths is the most fertile ground of the increase of income, and inspiration is the best motivation for a successful company." Every single one of these principles is followed in Arutech.